Hi everyone, welcome officially to the start of the Elite 10 program. So awesome to have you with me. Just waiting for a couple of people to join me live. I'm sure a couple will jump on. If you're watching this recording, please treat this like you're watching it live and rock forth. So first of all, I wanted to say hello, say welcome, and also give you kind of the first steps to get you on your way for the Elite 10 program. So, hi, welcome, done. The first steps for you, say hi when you jump on too. The first steps for you are, Kerry, I thought it would be you. Hi, Kerry. First steps are, if you haven't already, go and watch the live that I did. Now, if you're watching this live now, so hi, Susanna. So Kerry and Susanna, you're watching live now, so I wouldn't want you to, go and do this right now. Do it afterwards. But for everyone else, if you're watching this as a recording, please stop this, go and watch the welcome I did first of all that I did yesterday, and also read the post that I put up, because that post has a bit of an outline of the program, what you can expect, and how each live that I do each night is going to run, just to give you a little bit of an idea what to expect. So if you haven't already, go check those out first and then come back here and we shall rock on. Now, let's see. Today, I'm going to get straight into it, because this is how it's going to work. Pretty much every night, we've got a limited amount of time, and I'm going to shove a lot of stuff in there. So the first few minutes will be unpacking a little bit of what we did the day before. And then we'll spend about 10 minutes of pretty solid me going through some educational stuff, and then we'll ask questions. So normally when I'm doing a live, I encourage you guys to ask questions as we go, and I'll still do that a little bit. But what I'm going to do with the Elite 10 is primarily give you a chunk of education, and then we'll have a bit of a Q&A at the end. So as we go along, feel free to put questions in there, but if I don't answer it, know that that's why. I'll come back and we'll go over it at the end. So day one, welcome. This is exciting. Before I get into it, let me kind of explain why I'm doing this as well. So I found that a lot of people, hi Christy, I found that a lot of people were unsure, and this is a lot of mindset. We're going to spend 2 days on the first section, which is around mindset. So now a lot of people were kind of still unsure of their own abilities, their own expectations. So with the 90-day challenge, which quite a few of you are aware of, some people were just like a little bit too scared to do it. So this is a really nice little kind of taster, and what we're going to do over this 10 days is we're actually going to set an intention. We're doing that today, and you'll be producing something in that 10 days to start giving yourself evidence that you can do it. All right, and then yeah, if you ever want to do the 90-day program in the future, it's going to kind of be a lot easier for you. But if not, rock on. What you're going to get today is going to be enough, particularly if you want to write articles, etc. So the steps that I'll provide you are the steps to writing a book, but the beautiful thing about it is it totally overlays with any kind of writing at all. So articles, blogs, content, etc. Karen and time frame in the same sentence. Kerry, you know what? I've actually already timed this, and I'm working this baby. I know what you're talking about. But we're gonna try our best to nail it. So far I'm on time. So let's get straight into it. Today we're going to be talking about intentions and benchmarks, and audience and message. So the first thing I wanted to talk to you about is setting intentions, and in particular, we're setting intentions for this program. So what is it that you want to achieve in this 10 days of the program? Okay, and keep in mind that over these 10 days, what we're doing is literally implementing the 7 steps that I use to go from no idea to published author. But we're going to do it potentially, well, probably on a bit of a smaller scale, so that you can have something tangible at the end. So think about that. You don't have to tell me right now what your intention is, but have a think about it. It could be to write and publish an article. It could be to submit an article to a magazine or publication, like, for instance, if you wanted to, the Thought Collective or the Planetary Traveller's Guide to the Milky Way. It could be to start working towards your book. You might not want to actually have a complete finalized outcome, but what you want is an outcome. Let me be careful of the word outcome. What you want is an intention for this 10 days. The reason I say be careful about outcome is I really, the guys in my programs know this. I really don't want you to get attached to the outcome. Because here's the thing, whatever outcome you set, it's probably going to end up a little different. Over the 10 days, it's more likely to be close. But for instance, in the 90-day challenge that I do, the books that start out are very rarely anything like the books that finish. And the reason is our own personal growth as we tap in and learn to embrace things like vulnerability and discipline and learn to let go of things like perfectionism, which is all part of this structure and this program. So let me just, what have we got there? My intention is to learn trust in myself and my writing ability and become comfortable with the writing process. Kerry, you know what? That's fantastic. Being that you're already in the 12-month program, online program, that is a brilliant intention for you to set over this 10 days. Because as I said before, the reason I created this whole program is to allow people to start getting evidence that they can do it. Simple as that. And I know that that will give that to you, which is fantastic. All right, so in regard to choosing your program intention, a couple of things that you want to keep in mind. You want to keep in mind time. So what kind of time do you have available? And I hate the word realistic, I really do, but be realistic. Maybe a better word is be compassionate to self. That's probably a better way to say it. So I know a lot of you have got a lot on your plate. You don't necessarily need to put more on your plate. This could be just a little spoonful, okay? And that's all it takes to get evidence of your own abilities and what you can do and achieve. Be aware of your own commitment. How committed are you to making it happen? So this is where intention comes in. If you make an intention that is like, that you're not really attached to, then you're not really committed to it. Make an intention that you are committed to. So your intention might be, I'm going to write an article and I'm going to post it on LinkedIn in this 10 days. That's it. That's what I'm going to do. Fantastic. Commit to that. You know, it could be an 800-word article. Rock and roll. Commit to that. It could be something a lot bigger. It could be, I'm going to write a 3,000-word short story in this 10 days. Commit to it. Don't overcommit and self-sabotage. And we'll go over that a little bit more tomorrow because we'll be talking about mindset tomorrow. The other thing is make the decision. So make the decision right now that this is what's going to happen and this is what you're going to do, i.e. So this is my intention and this is how I will achieve it. Simple as that. I will achieve it. And I'll go into kind of the how a bit. The next section I want to talk about is benchmarks. So this kind of like really flows in from intention. So once you have your intentions, you want to set benchmarks. How will you know you've achieved it? And notice I'm saying intention rather than outcome. Okay? So how will you know that you've achieved your intention in that 10 days? What's your benchmark where you go, that's how I did it? And what I would suggest that you do is set 3 benchmarks. Now remember, again, this is what you can utilize in any of your writing, okay? I'm just using it in your specific example so that you've got that that tangible by the end of the 10 days, okay? So I recommend 3 benchmarks. 2 of them, I'm literally going to give you what they should be. I'm not going to give you what the benchmark is, but I'm going to let you know what to benchmark. And then the third one's completely up to you. So the first one that you should benchmark is, and this goes across anything, what is your measure of success? How will I know I've achieved this? Okay, so what is your benchmark? How will I know I've achieved this? The next one is simply word count. When you're writing a book, we'll look at word count or possibly page count, something where we've got the 10 days to do it and we're not going to like go crazy nuts. We'll look at word count. So your word count could be 500 words, rock on. Your word count could be 5,000 words, rock on. But set your benchmark of what you want to achieve. And here's the thing with benchmarks. Know what it is. So for example, 500 words, know why, because that's going to serve the purpose of what I'm doing or whatever it may be. and attach to the feeling of it. Know how you'll feel when you've achieved that and when you've done that and when you've reached that benchmark. Now, the third benchmark could be anything you want. It could be submitted the article to a magazine. It could be published it on whatever site, this, that place, whatever. It could be have a lead magnet available, have it on my website. Could whatever. It doesn't actually matter what that third benchmark is. It could even be, you know, sales, if that relates to what you're doing. It could be connections. It could be new leads. Whatever it is, set a third benchmark of how you'll know when you've achieved your outcome. Okay, so 3 benchmarks. When you're thinking about your benchmarks, consider these 3 things. Consider purpose, consider audience, consider message. Now, I'm going to go over audience and message a little bit more in this. So basically right now, all I'm going to cover is considering your purpose. Purpose is simply, why are you writing this? Now, your purpose might be, like you said, Kerry, it might literally be to prove to myself that I can. That might be your purpose, and rock on. Your purpose might be because I want to post my first ever article. Your purpose might be because I want to submit to a magazine for the first time ever. Your purpose might be because I want to post something that's going to get lots of likes or whatever it may be. Decide what your purpose is for why you're creating the tangible intention for this program. Okay, so know what your purpose is. Know who your audience is. Know who's going to be reading it and where they're hanging out. We'll go into that more. And most importantly, know your message. Know that thing that you want to deliver. Know that life-changing, world-changing thing, message that you want to deliver through what you're writing. And again, we'll go over that a lot more in a moment as well. So let's get into audience, straight into audience. 3 things to consider in audience. Number 1, who are you writing for? Who are you writing for? And for most of you on here, I believe quite a few of you will be business people and have businesses. Some of you not so much. But if you've got a business, if you run a business and you're looking at writing for your business in line with your business, then it makes sense that your audience is aligned with your business avatar. So it will be them. Okay, so who are you writing for? If you're doing fiction, it might be more along the lines of who are you writing for? Young adults who like horror or whatever it may be, you know, fantasy readers. Who are you writing for? Who needs it the most? And this one really comes into play, particularly with nonfiction. It does come in play with fiction as well, but it depends on what level. Like if you're writing metaphorical fiction, if you're writing fiction that has an undertow of personal development, then yes, this is very, very relevant. If you're writing for fun and enjoyment, you might want to consider it, but it's probably not, you know, a huge one for you. But for those particularly doing nonfiction or writing within your business, who needs it the most? And here's the question to ask. Imagine this. You can only have for a book 1 copy, an article, 1 copy, whatever. Do you see that? Whatever it may be. You can only provide 1 person 1 copy ever, anywhere. Okay? For that 1 person, it's going to change their life. It's going to change the world, their world. And on the back of that, they're going to change the world. Okay? This is pretty heavy. So imagine that 1 person that this provides that to. That 1 person that is going to be completely inspired by what you deliver so that they can go on and inspire others. Think about that 1 person. That's your audience. And think about them deeply. Give them a name. Tell me what age they are. I do this. I literally imagine that they're at the bookstore. So, well, if they're at a bookstore, they might not be. If there's someone who hangs out more at, you know, like a cafe bookstore or a library or something like that, I might imagine it there. But I put them in a place, which is where they hang out, and I imagine them reaching out and picking up the book. And then I imagine what it is that attracted them, what it is that first got their attention. I go through all that process. So that gives me a visual of the book, and it also gives me an idea of the connection and the meaning and the message and all of those bits and pieces. So it's a pretty deep level of connecting with your audience. If you're writing a book, definitely do this. This is part of the Write Now program we go through. That's actually one of the challenges in the 90-day challenge as well. If you're doing an article or whatnot, still consider it. It's really cool if you break it down and just think about one person, and that one person through you is going to change the world because you inspired them. Number one, that's pretty freaking awesome. And number two, it'll allow you to really target to that one person and really connect with them and give of yourself. All right, beautiful. And the other thing with audience is, what do they want and what do they need? Okay, so these are some couple of things to consider when you're considering your audience. What do they want? What do they need? Now, what they want is what they know they have a problem with. What they need is that which they don't. Let me explain. So what they want is, they know they have a problem and they want the solution. It's a known problem. And so they're coming to you to get that information and get the solution. However, you give them what they want. If you take it one step level and give them what they need, which is what they don't know, they don't know. They don't know that this is a potential solution to a potential problem that they haven't even tapped into yet. This is kind of pre-solving problems. It's like a pre-solution. If you can provide them that, because you know that they need it, and if you know your audience, you know what they need, okay, then you can provide them what they want and what they need. And this is what makes a great book. You give them what they want and you give them what they need. You give them what they want first, because sometimes giving them what they need, well, if you just give them what they need up front, quite often you'll get a bit of this because they're not ready for it. And I'll explain that more when we get into to message as well. So which we'll go into right now. So so on that, if you kind of think about what I was just saying with what they want, what they need. What they want is what they know there's a problem there, and they want the solution to the problem that they know. Deeper down, there's a deeper problem that you're aware of that they don't see yet, but you have the solution to that problem, which is what they need. So if you imagine that, your message that you're delivering is actually on 3 levels. So there is a surface message, there is a deeper message, and there is a core message. Your surface message is straight out what they're asking for. Your surface message is, you don't have enough time, this is how you can get more time. The deeper message is that which they probably know, but they've got a little bit of fear around, or they don't really want to kind of admit, okay? So you don't think you have enough time, bullshit, everyone's got the same amount of time. Then your core message gets to the heart of humanity, okay? Your core message really relates to the 3 universal fears. Now, the 3 universal fears, for those that aren't familiar with this, is fear of not being enough, fear of not belonging, and fear of not being loved. And we all of us have those 3 fears. They're called universal fears because we all have them. And what you'll tend to find is there'll be one that drives you a bit more than others. And so for me, I'll be quite honest, because I know exactly what mine is. I've done a lot of work on this. Mine is fear of not being enough. That's my core universal fear. So what that means, strangely enough, because this is how the law of attraction works, I attract people to me whose primary universal fear is the fear of not being enough. So for a lot of you, that's probably going to be what your fear is out of the 3. That's probably going to be the one that resonates the most. Maybe not necessarily all of you, but in my experience, most people that I come together with, they have the same universal fear. It's quite hilarious. So in that regard, your core one's taken care of. Now, here's the thing. You're not going to share your core message. You're not going to write an article and say, you don't think you're enough. Yes, you are. Like, you know, what's the point of that? You're going to start with the surface and then go a bit deeper, and maybe you'll drop a little bit of that core message depending on who your audience is and if your audience can handle it, okay? But the main point of knowing that core message is to have it in the back of your head for everything that you're writing. So if you're writing, think about it this way. If the core message is you are enough, if that's the core message I'm delivering is you are enough, right? When I'm writing, I'm not going to be saying anything that's judgmental. Everything that I write and say is very much going to be about you can do it, you are enough, you deserve this, you've got this, and it's going to be all very much aligned with that. Okay, so I'm not necessarily saying, yeah, you are, you're enough, you're enough, you're enough, you're whatever, boring. But that's going to be a constant flow through everything I write. I trust that makes sense. So a couple of things to consider when you're doing you're thinking about your 3 levels of message. As I mentioned already, universal fear, so I'll go over them again. Fear of not being enough, fear of not being loved, and fear of not belonging. What are they scared of? What are they scared of will really tap into your deeper message. And you know your audience, so that should definitely assist you. And what do they acknowledge? So those 3, universal fears is the core. To consider your deeper level, what are they a bit fearful of? They'll probably admit it if you push them, but they're a little bit like, oh, I don't know about that. And the surface level is, what do they acknowledge? They know they've got a problem there. They're not denying it. That's your surface. So that's your 3 levels of message. Awesome. So that's the main content. Now, the next thing that you guys are going to do, and we'll go over to the Q&A in just a moment, the next step is to set an intention. So let me go back through everything first of all so that you've got all the steps that you can do that you can take into any writing, because you might not actually be aware of the number of steps I just gave you. So number 1, set an intention, right? Number 2, set benchmarks. Set 3 benchmarks. One is related to how do you view success. One is your word count, and the third one is whatever resonates with you or whatever suits what you're doing. Your audience, know your audience. What do they know? What do they want? What do they need? Who are they? And who is that one person whose world you will change? Okay. And message. Have your 3 levels of message: surface, deep, and core. So I've given you quite a lot of steps that you can do right now. So what we're going to do is simply set intention. So after this video, I'll be putting up a post, and that post will be an accountability post, okay? What I need you guys to do is, in that post, pop in there your intention, and do that before our live tomorrow so I can check it out, and then we can unpack it in the first couple of minutes. And whatever your intention is, rock on. Now, I'm going to write something along with you guys, so I don't know what that is yet. I haven't decided, but I'm going to set an intention as well, so I'll be doing the exact same thing alongside of you. So that's it. Questions. Let's open it up to questions. And guys, if you're not watching this live, if you're watching the recording, please put your questions in, because I do have support we're going to go in and make sure we answer everyone's questions. So go for it. And I'll just see what we've got here. Cool. So I know there's a little bit of a delay, so I'm just going to have a drink while I wait to see if any questions come up. And if not, we'll just rock on, and I'll come back and check tomorrow and answer any questions that have come up overnight. By the way, do you like my very cool writer's cup? I love it. I love this cup. I remember when I found this, I cracked up. I went, I'm such a nerd. So any questions on intentions, benchmarks, audience, or message at this stage? All right, looks like we're looking good. Kerry, if you're writing a message, just keep going, and I'll grab it when it comes up. So I wanted to let you guys know as well, this is out of the Right Now book that I have, which is also part of the Right Now program. So if you want to grab that, you can get that on the website as well, imacademy.com.au. At the store, it just says buy stuff, because I don't muck around. Beautiful. Looks like we don't have any questions, which is absolutely phenomenal. So tomorrow we're going to be talking about mindset. Hope to have a few people online. I know that being that it's a weekday of 5 p.m, I might not have a lot of you guys on here live with me, and that's totally okay. Remember that you can watch the recording. Make sure that you do go and watch the welcome video, and also have a look at the post that I did, because that will really make it clear as to what's happening and what's going on. Kerry, sorry, I just saw. When setting an intention, how specific do you need to be? Well, so specific without attachment. So what I mean by that is, just say okay, if you set an intention of, I'm going to write an article and I'm going to submit it to the Thought Collective, for example, or I'm going to write a story for Planetary Guide. Cool, awesome. If you set an intention of, in this 10 days, I'm going to write a story about XYZ, and this will happen, and that one, and at the end of it, I'm going to feel this way because of that. And the more you put in, the more you're attached to the outcome. Keep it flexible, but at the same time, if your heart is set on some kind of detail, put that detail in. I trust that makes sense. So, trying to give you a better example. So I might set an intention of, I'm going to write 3 articles, and I'm going to post one on LinkedIn, one on Facebook, and I am going to find someone to guest blog post the 3rd one. Awesome. A lot of detail there. There's a lot of things that have got to line up. 2 of them is pretty much in my control. That's easy. But the 3rd one, can I have that done and published in the 10 days? I don't know. So I just won't be attached to the outcome. I'm going to submit it in the 10 days because that I know I've got control over, and that will definitely happen. So that's okay. And as long as you've got the commitment and you've made the decision, that's it. Yeah. Just remember, if you've got somebody else free, okay, actually, here's a good example. So if your intention was, and this is for anyone on here actually, if your intention is to submit to the Thought Collective, don't make the intention that you'll be accepted into the Thought Collective. Do the intention that you would submit to the Thought Collective. I trust that makes sense. Does that help, Kerry? Can any tasks I do in this program be used in the other program I am doing? Oh yeah, Kerry, absolutely. This is all taken from the 12-month program. That's the thing. This is all just little tidbits from it. This is like a condensed, rapid fire version of it. This is going to give you steps to get some stuff done. What you've got available to you though is, for example, you've got a whole training on intentions and benchmarks. You've got a whole training on your audience. You've got a whole training on message. So all of this is available to you, and you've got a much deeper level of what we're doing in a 20-minute time frame. Do the in the task with the program. Yeah, and with the program that you're doing, it's really about, I mean, you don't have to write a book. I've got people in there that aren't necessarily doing that. They're doing it for content writing. So you don't have to necessarily write a book, but you would definitely do more than you're going to do in this 10 days. However, in this 10 days, you might choose to start getting this could be your intention. Get a kind of really cloudy overview of what you'll do over the whole time frame, because I know that you wanted to actually get your book done pretty quickly. So this will give you a really nice overview of that. You've got Spine, and you can pretty much get access to Construct in a few days. If you finish off Spine, you'll get Construct access. But overall, it will give you kind of a cloudy overview of all the steps. Trust that makes sense. Cool. Excellent. Any other questions? Anything else I can help you guys with right now? Right now. Couldn't help it. So for everyone watching the recording, please pop in your questions. We're about to hit half an hour, and I did make the decision I will never go over 30 minutes on any of these. And Kerry, you know how tough that is for me, but I've done it. So I'm going to close this off. Any questions, put them in the comments. I'll come back and make sure those are taken care of. And pop in your intentions in the intention post. I'll be putting that up straight after we get off this live. So thank you so much for joining me. Join me again tomorrow, and we'll be talking about all about, blatant plug, so blatant. We'll be talking all about mindset, which is so important on this journey. So join me tomorrow. It'll be absolutely epic. Until then, rock forth with awesomeness. Have a great night, guys. Bye.